Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So I got another little tool show off for you guys. Now, you guys have seen these cordless tools, multi-tools. This is my 18 volt behemoth multi-tool that I'd originally bought for using at work, except it turns out it's a little bit too big for working on RVs with. At least in a lot of areas that are really compressed. So I did get the 12 volt model, which is a lot smaller. But I've got my 18 volts here, and figured, well, I use this in my regular shop anyways out back. But yesterday I went to Home Depot and I picked up a new attachment. One of the things about working on RV trailers is there's a lot of compact space, but it's not just RV trailers. It could be in a car or whatever, right? And we need access to drills, right? And Ridgid is a great company for their tools. I really love their stuff. And their multi-tools, 18 volt or 12 volt, has interchangeable heads. And so I picked up this drill driver because one of the things I ran into the other day was I had to drill some holes into something. And of course, my boss has these right angle drill things that attach to a regular cordless drill. I find them very awkward for me. And so I wanted something a lot more compact and slimline, and I had bought a small mini drill last season, and I thought, wow, that'll work. And it turns out in this case, nope, it's even more cramped space, so I need something really low profile. So anyways, for yesterday's job, I did it with this adapter Dewey thing that goes on to your regular drill. But like I said, I find it very awkward because of how you got to hold the drill and then hold this thing, and it's like, oh. So I thought, well, I want this. So I went and I got this. This was $55 or $54 and change Canadian at Home Depot, where we have our Ridgid dealer in town. And this thing does like up to 500 RPM, which is kind of nice. So, and it's a 3/8 drive. And of course you do have forward and reverse because of the switch on your unit. So I think for the money, that's great, because now I can get into that really super small area, no problem. But I won't be using my 18 volter for that, because this thing does have some weight to it, a little bit of arm fatigue there for if I had to do the same job. But if you have the 18 volt version, I mean, hey, they've got a whack load of different heads for the Ridgid multi-tools. There's like the Sawzall attachment, the jigsaw attachment. I still got to get those two. They have an impact as well as a ratchet wrench style jobby. Now those two I don't need. I'll never need, so I'm not going to worry about those. But the other ones I definitely need. But this thing, you just push the buttons in and wiggle her off, and away you go. And then you want to change. Now you can also change the angle of this too. You got 4 positions with this. So you can get the most comfortable position for using the tool, which is also awesome, right? And you'd be doing the same thing with any other attachments. They all go into the 4 different positions, so you get the best possible angle. So if you need to, hold it like this, or whatever type of thing, you can do that. And of course, you do have the light on this as well. They also show you on the drill about, the different attachments here. They list the different attachments that fit on here. But you just slam her on and away you go, because I thought, I should wonder if I should just buy a right-handed, low profile drill, because Milwaukee's got one, sure, for like $200. They had the tool only version for $109. Of course, then you need a battery and charger, then you're way over $200. And Milwaukee's only 5 years. Even this headpiece is covered for life. Just remember to register your lifetime warranty. You do have to do that. It is a 2-stage process. I've talked about that before on the channel, about how Ridgid stuff works. Now here's something else I wanted to throw in just before we go. I'm not doing a review on this today, other than to say it's a great attachment, something you can't really do without. I don't see where there would be a problem. If I said today it was 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5, it would stay that way, right? More than likely. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you guys a review after I've had this for some use, let you know what kind of areas I've gotten into with it and how well it's worked out. Because like I said, this is 500 RPM max, which is more than what you need for drilling through metal, wood, and a lot of other stuff. You really don't need massive RPM for a lot of jobs. And when you're getting into tight little areas too, you know, this thing is definitely going to be a handy thing for you to have a drill unit like this. And other companies do make a similar style, you know, drill only, where it's not interchangeable heads. You know, and Ridgid's always had the interchangeable design thing going on. Turns out Ryobi, now this is funny, this is what I wanted to add in. Ryobi has something very similar to this, except instead of the battery pack being like this, it goes along the bottom, so it's like very cumbersome, you know, it's like, you know, that would drive me nuts. I mean, I like the profile of this way, you know. But anyways, I was watching a YouTube video, and I seen a guy use this Job Max one on his Ryobi, and I'm like, have these guys teamed up together, you know, like Ridgid and Ryobi, you know, because you'd never see interchanging from different brands like that. But it turns out Ryobi has a multi-tool. Now they only have this head with it. I did a check on Home Depot's website, and they only have this particular head with the Ryobi one, but the guy was using this one, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So if you buy the Ryobi multi-tool, you just buy all the Ridgid Job Max attachments, and they'll work with it. And I thought that was kind of cool. However, I still prefer Ridgid because I like their colors, I like their build quality better, as well as their power outputs and torque specs on all their products, you know, like drilling and stuff like that. I'm a big Ridgid fan that way. Ryobi is a do-it-yourselfer tool. I have seen a few, I don't know if you call them professionals at this point, but they could have been professionals that have chosen Ryobi as their tool brand, which is fine. We all have our choices, and you know, Ryobi is much more inexpensive in some ways, but of course so is their build quality, which absolutely sucks, and I don't like the way their battery pack styles are. Even though they do have this 18 and 1 and plus, well, you know what? If you've got an 18 volt Ridgid, all their 18 volt batteries work. This is the 3 amp one. If you have a 12 volt Ridgid, the 12 volt batteries are all interchangeable. So that's no real difference between Ridgid and Ryobi in that sense. Ryobi does have a really nice color scheme, which is great, but their reliability of their tools for hard use or contractor type use is not that great, and the longevity of the battery doesn't seem to be as good as what Ridgid would be in the same amperage levels. Their batteries just don't seem to be as well made, and like I said, I don't like the style physically of their batteries either. You know, this is something where, you know, you just push the button, slide it off, it stays compact too. I like that. You know, I think maybe Ryobi has maybe gotten into a similar style to this. I really don't pay attention to Ryobi that much. I have one Ryobi tool that I own, and you know, it was something I got for nothing, so I don't really care. It's not a bad little drill, but I mean, the battery doesn't even hold a charge anymore. I'm gonna have to replace it, which is not a big deal for me to do. But I still, ever since I first got introduced to Ridgid, I've been loving Ridgid. I've had Milwaukee stuff in the past, and I got to tell you that even Milwaukee is way underpowered and way overpriced in comparison to Ridgid. Like, you really got to spend a lot of money on a Milwaukee to get something really good in comparison to a Ridgid. But that's been my experience. Other people have had different experiences, and they have their own opinions. We all do. This is just mine. But if you are someone who has the Ryobi multi-tool, this does work, and of course this will too. But the other Ridgid adapters will also work on your Ryobi. Now, their Ryobi, of course, is very cumbersome like this. It's very, you know, except like I said, the battery pack, instead of going this way, it lays down this way, so it's kind of really awkward. But at least we know that this and the other Ridgid heads will work on your Ryobi, because Ryobi does not list any other heads that I've found on the Home Depot website. They sell the tool with this head, and that's it. And it's, well, if they're not going to produce other heads, why would they make it removable or angleable, changeable? But that's fine, they did, and it turned out to be a bonus of being able to use the Job Max stuff, which is fine. But anyways, guys, that's what I want to show you. So this is definitely worth the $54 because it saved me a bundle, you know, because I was going to buy a specific, but then I started thinking about it, you know, why would I spend all that extra money when I've already got the multi-tool at work, and I've got the 12-volt version at work, so it's much more slimmer design than this. But either way, if I needed this at home, wow, work is only 30 seconds up to the end of the driveway for me, so it's not a big deal to grab this thing and throw it on this for a heavy duty job that I want to do, you know. So either way, golden. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, and hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.